So one of the main reasons why you can't just use your current bras is because when you get your supply for nursing, i.e. your milk comes in, your size will almost definitely increase. But not only that, your breasts will change quite frequently throughout the day as you're feeding, and you need bras that are going to be sympathetic to that change. So for example, ones that have a more flexible underwire so they don't dig in during nursing, and actually the whole life cycle of your breasts, you have glands and ducts and ligaments and breast tissue and skin, and that all changes when your breast is becoming fuller to feed and then emptier once you have fed. So it really depends on the frequency in which you're feeding. So during pregnancy, most people experience a growth spurt at the beginning of the pregnancy. So in the first trimester, it's often termed, but basically within the first kind of 12-week period, it stabilizes for a lot of people, growth at that point. So we usually fit once at the beginning of the pregnancy. Some people continue growing, but most stabilize. And then at the end of the pregnancy, your milk starts to come in preparation for the baby arriving, essentially. So whether you decide to nurse or not, your size will likely increase at that point. So we'd always recommend a remeasure just before your due date or after your due date if you don't manage to make it in before. And then in terms of size change during the nursing cycle, your size will increase most at the beginning because your supply is the heaviest at the start when the baby first arrives. And then over time it stabilizes to meet with the pattern, meet with the demand. So you basically feed as your baby needs you to feed. And depending on how often you're feeding during the day will affect how much your breasts are changing in terms of size every day. And so we do need to not only think about size difference, but also type of bra to be suitable for both the feeding process. So you might have seen ones with little clips, or sometimes we fit into a plunging neckline so that you can slip the shoulder off your strap. That was actually my preferred method. And sometimes we fit non-wired, as discussed for during pregnancy, and sometimes we'll fit bras that have got a more kind of flexible underwire that will be sympathetic to change. So it's really just a question of personal choice. If you are used to wearing underwire, you may well feel more comfortable wearing underwire during pregnancy, at least for the earlier stages before your bump is so prominent. We just need to make sure that the underwires aren't restricting any breast growth. So, digging into glands, digging into your ligaments and breast tissue, cutting into your skin. So we kind of change the recommendation in terms of what shape of underwire to go for. So it's generally wider and flatter at the bottom, and thus when your bump gets bigger, it doesn't cut in so much to the top of the bump. But many people find it uncomfortable wearing non-wired bras because they're not used to not wearing wire, and obviously you will have experienced growth over such a short period of time that your breasts will be more sensitive than they would usually be. So completely changing what they're used to wearing isn't always the way to find more comfort. So one of the big differences between underwire and non-underwire is shape. So what your breast looks like without a top on. Often if you don't have an underwire, your breasts are kind of pushed together, and people find that very irritating when you get hot between the bust. And then shape underneath clothes as well. So you don't get the definition between each breast that you might be used to if you wear a wired bra day to day, particularly in a larger cup size. That being said, we do go to J cup in terms of non-wired bras that would be supportive for pregnancy and also for nursing. So there is still that support there. It's just the main difference would be shape and kind of the feeling that it gives you when you wear it in terms of security of the fit. Yeah, so often if you were to Google maternity bra or Google, post-pregnancy bra, it would present you with lots of nursing options, with that awful societal assumption that you're just going to be able to nurse or going to choose to nurse. So we would still adjust the sizing post-pregnancy because, well, your size might increase initially if you do start getting your supply when the baby's born, even if you don't engage with the feeding process. Then most likely, because of the hormonal changes of having the baby, your size will get smaller quite quickly from when you were pregnant, because your breasts were changing in preparation for feeding. So we would still need to remeasure you, and that happens to somebody who decides to nurse as well. They get remeasured for nursing, and then once they stop nursing or slow down nursing, we remeasure again because there's going to be another change. So we would just need to remeasure for a sizing purpose, but also, with the consideration that, with all of those aspects to a breast and having gone through so much change over time, we probably need to be quite sensitive in terms of comfort levels and support. So a sleep bra is just a bra that's suitable for wearing at night. As we've already spoken about, when your breasts are going through lots of changes, and because there are many elements to a breast, they can become quite sore during pregnancy and during nursing, generally for different reasons. During pregnancy, it's because you've experienced that growth spurt over a short period of time and you're experiencing hormonal changes as well. During nursing, it's because your breasts are getting larger and smaller quite frequently through literally a daily cycle, but also your nipples can become very sensitive. That can happen during pregnancy as well, but it's generally more common during nursing, because obviously you're latching the baby, and sometimes that can be really successful and sometimes it can be more challenging. And most people will get sore nipples at certain points. So sleep bras can help with offering a barrier between the nipple and your bedclothes, or getting caught, or just heightened sensitivity as well, and help to keep your breast pads in place. So if you find that you're leaking during nursing, for example, they kind of give you that additional security, so you don't feel like you're leaking over your bed or over your baby or over your partner even. And I think most importantly, sleep bras offer a level of comfort during a period, both during pregnancy and post, where your breasts have gone through a lot of change during a short period of time, and therefore skin is stretched and things. And whether you're lying on your side or on your back or even on your front, it's a lot for your breasts not have any support for 8 to 12 hours at night. And it just gives it that little bit of support and comfort. Sleep bras that we would recommend will be completely different to daytime bras, so they'll often have a completely soft construction. We'll try and get the ratios right in terms of, if you're a 34E, we'll still get that 34 resistance on the band, and we'll still have enough room on the cup for the E cup. But often it will be a kind of crop top style situation, and lots of people think that they can just go and obviously order that on Amazon or something, but it's better to ensure that those ratios are right, and then your breasts aren't spilling out of your sleep bra.
Definitely.
I mean, I still wear a sleep bra. I've finished nursing, and it just makes me feel like, okay, whilst my breasts are kind of it is recovery to a degree, and my tissues and ligaments and muscles are kind of strengthening again, it just gives that added bit of support. So there's lots of ways to get in touch with us in terms of maternity advice. So you can always drop us an email. It's hello@thepantryunderwear.com. If you're wondering what the next steps should be. We do have booking forms on our website, on the store's /book page, and in the maternity section of the shop as well, where you can specify a time, a location, even specify if you'd like a virtual maternity fitting, which means you can have it from the comfort of your own home. You could even drop us a DM on social media and we'll still come back to you and help you to book an appointment. We kind of vaguely touched on it in some of the previous answers, but we tend to recommend an appointment during your first trimester when you find out that you're pregnant, kind of between the 10 to 14 week mark. Generally speaking, you would then have a remeasure towards the end of the pregnancy or just after the baby's born for either nursing bras or post-pregnancy bras. And then when there's a significant change in the frequency of feeding or you decide to stop, we would do a remeasure then as well. And it might sound like, you know, lots and lots of moments to have to repurchase, but it is quite a unique time in terms of how often your breast tissue is changing and being affected, and it's important to keep them supported. And wherever possible, we'll try and re-engage bras from different stages of the process to offer you support at other stages of the process. So for example, your bras from when you were first pregnant could possibly work from a sizing perspective when you are post-nursing. So they might still be a little bit bigger than you were pre-pregnancy, but not as big as when you first started nursing. And we'll try as much as we can to re-engage those styles if they do work and if they do offer that satisfactory level of support. So definitely button-up PJs or a really nice nightshirt or both. I always think actually across the board, one to wear, one for the wash. So never just buy one nursing bra. They, in fact, get at least 3 nursing bras because obviously you leak on them. You're also in such a kind of intense cycle that you need to have them in the wash. It's very common to get, you know, infections such as mastitis, and then you have to be able to wash your bras really frequently, and it's important to have options and feel like you've got options, not just like one bra that's being worn and stretched out, and you know, and then you don't feel right in yourself. But also, as I mentioned, button-up PJs and nightshirts, because you're never going to spend as much time in your PJs. And you need to also have easy access if you choose to feed. Even if you don't choose to feed, it's just nice to have something that you feel nice in. And people are coming to visit you and you want to have your PJs adorned with puppies because they'll be like, what a great pair of PJs, and you'll feel great for it. Equally, even going into hospital, there are lots of blogs online that say, get a nasty nightshirt because, you know, it's only going to get messy, and you know, there's a lot to be said for a big pair of pants and an old t-shirt for literally the delivery suite, but many women stay in hospital for days, if not weeks, after they've had the baby, and being able to put a nice pair of PJs on or a nice nightshirt to be able to nip to the loo, just speaking from experience, uplifts you when you really need it. So yeah.
And before you go, I just want to quickly ask, did you have any like strange cravings when you were pregnant with your own bambini, or anything that you were like, I need to have this?
Fizzy water.
Yeah?
Fizzy water, easy peelers, that's stuck with me, and chicken and mushroom pot noodles.
Amazing. Well, that's it for any mums out there. If you have the same cravings, drop a line and let us know as well.